Hey everyone. This poem that I'm about to write is another one of my older poems, and it is called Contradiction. My life is complicated but wonderful, black and white yet colorful, crazy, hectic, calm, and quiet. I want to run away. I want to enjoy it. Restlessness fills me, but I hate change. I want precise order. I want to rearrange. I spend hours complaining, then complain that all that's straining. I feel peaceful and at ease. My life is full of dreams. Aspirations, inspirations kept in a box, put away for later with hope it still unlocks. I love my life, I hate it. Why can't I accept it? So many worries and doubts, so many people I can't be without. I hate my poems, then love them, rhyme them, write them, rewrite them. Spend hours with one line, then stop, unsatisfied. Can someone please come save me? Please help me fulfill my dreams. Help me find a purpose in life. Be passionate enough to write something. So I wrote that poem when I was quite obviously going through a very lost period of my life. And I actually forgotten about it, and then this week I've had kind of a crazy week, and I felt like that I remembered writing that poem, and I felt like it was very relevant in my life right now. And you know, it's about not just me as a person, but about life and about relationships. I feel like, you know, there are so many days in your life with family, with friends, with lovers, where one day you can be on top of the world and the next you can be, you know, feeling like the world is ending, and so many things can contradict themselves every day, and yet at the end I think what matters the most is who comes back to us, who, you know, where we can center ourselves and really trying to find that purpose in our life, whether it be writing or, you know, painting or anything that keeps us grounded amidst all of the contradictions. And I felt like a poem that kind of, in a sense, went along with the theme of contradiction is one by Amanda Palmer that she posted on her blog last year, and I have it printed out because when I read it I was just really moved by it. It's kind of long, but it's a really intense poem. I really felt connected to it, and it's called Waking Up Alone, Waking Up with Neil. Waking up alone, the infinite possibilities of the entire cosmos flood into my head before I open my eyes. Every particle collides and every life form borns and dies. Waking up alone, the day is endless and untainted and has more hours than a year. Waking up alone, I think that I might finally go to the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum, and even though I've paid full admission to see all the art, just pick a single chair overlooking the indoor garden and write in my journal. And maybe go to the museum bookstore and buy her biography, and then read that sitting in the chair too. Waking up alone, I let my thoughts trawl and crawl and stay disconnected from lists and from people and from my body, electric, and I shine into my own brain. Waking up alone, I look out the window and see a world I never see once I'm out the front door. The unique and abominable shapes and sounds of things, and how color can look like music, and the way the sunlight falls blinding on a tree branch, and the wind is failing to knock off those stubborn dead leaves. And I get that people need to believe in God. Waking up alone, I think I might spend some time today drawing or learning to paint. Waking up alone, I never want to touch my phone or my computer again. Waking up alone, I am a brain. I am alone, I am alert, I am aware. Waking up alone, I make myself giggle and wrap my body deep within the quilt cocoon and stretch like a bored cat and bite my pillow. Waking up alone, I let the phrases of the day before unstick themselves from the walls of my memory and arrange themselves into threesomes of lyrics. Waking up alone, I think about the idea of undertaking everything, and I think about how an undertaker is for the dead. And then I think about overtaking, and I think about giant Mack trucks crashing on the highway, and I think undertake, overtake, undertake, overtake, and I smile. Waking up alone, I write volumes of poetry as easy as adding boiled water to instant fucking oatmeal, and throw them away and don't care. Waking up alone, I consider my trace of a hangover from a unique perspective. Waking up alone, the only thing in existence is me, and my awkward, fleshy, pre-corpse headed to our little death in the ecstatic joy and countdown while gravity nails me to the spinning bed. Waking up alone is basically masturbation. Waking up with Neil, the universe collapses into a single white hair on an unshaven face. The blade of grass, the man I love, the sleepy-toothed madman. Waking up with Neil, I violently wrap my limbs around his body like a coat of paint and wonder, is it possible to get closer, 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 maximizing the surface area of our bodies connecting to each other. Waking up with Neil, the light from the window reflecting off the dead leaves, exists only to illuminate his eyelashes, his lips, which are a moon-curved line, a half a parenthesis, leaving his face an open-ended thought. Waking up with Neil, the endless possibilities are only what I can love. There is no end, there is no boundary, there are no rules, there is no spoon, there is no Dana, there is only Neil. Waking up with him, I fall into the cult of two, the sweet and intoxicating dogma of the other. I am the owned, I am the owner, I am the luckiest. Girl in the world, waking up with Neil. The real estate of feet and earlobes and chests and backs is totally foreclosed. The deal is done. Waking up with Neil, I want to use a person as a blanket. I want to crawl inside his mouth and go back to sleep inside his lungs. Waking up with Neil, I think in the poetry of my hands and not my words. I write without a pen of the mind, but with a trace of a finger, and the means of every romantic lyric I ever imagined has ended in that final ideal. Waking up with Neil, I keep my eyes closed, but I don't go in. I stay out. There is no sweeter sensation than being admired, while not fully conscious of where your body begins and ends. Waking up with Neil, our narcissisms swell and collapse like rogue waves, and we forget the planet locked in its orbit, and we forget the day locked in its calendar, and we forget the room locked in its house, and we forget ourselves locked in each other. Waking up with Neil is basically sex. Waking up with a third party is a whole nother poem. So, as you can see, those are two very contrasting parts of a poem. I like to think of that poem in halves, and I like the different ways that she talks about how waking up by yourself can be in and of itself something beautiful and rewarding, but also how she talks about the beauty of waking up with another person and being in love with another person, and really that thin line between being by yourself and being with another person, and how we define ourselves based on our own image and the image of maybe someone that we love. And I think it's a beautiful poem. I think there are so many pieces of it that really stand out. Like, one of my favorite lines is actually in the beginning, where she talks about, where is it? Waking up alone, I let the phrases of the day before unstick themselves from the walls of my memory and arrange themselves into threesomes of lyrics. I feel like that line is so perfect, especially being a writer. I mean, sometimes you have to let things kind of ferment in your head before you can put them on paper, before you talk about them, and I just felt like that was a really beautiful way to put that. And, you know, I just kind of feel like it's very parallel to my Contradiction poem, and so I wanted to share it with you. That is a poem very dear to my heart, so if you have any other thoughts about Amanda Palmer's poem or my poem, please share them. And if you've watched this all the way to the end, thank you very much, and I will have a new video soon.